we on? Oh,
Hey, we're on. We got that.
Oh, I tell you, there's one thing that's frustrating me through this period is internet and Wi-Fi and live. I was going, hello, hi, how?
How you doing? How you doing? Look, you're a busy woman, aren't you? You are busy, Kel. Thank you for coming on.
But sorry, I've been trying to get on, but I don't know what I was doing. I was
No
waving
worries.
and everything.
Well, everyone, we've got Dame Kelly Holmes. How about that, eh? How privileged am I? How are you anyway? How you doing? You good?
Yeah, I'm all right, actually, Rob. Thank you. Yeah, I've kind of got my head now around this whole situation and process, and I think I'm kind of on that.
Doing on that straight. You know, I see your posts every morning. You're doing your fitness, helping people out and everything, and keeping yourself in routine by the looks of things.
Yeah, I think that was key, you know, and I've been saying that today on some of the speeches that I've been doing online. It's like having a structure is really important. And I think people, you know, the first 2 weeks was a little bit of a shock, wasn't it? And kind of people all over the place.
All over it, yeah.
And I think it's now that time for people to like have that structure and almost treat now as like the new norm. And by having that as a new norm, what would you do if you had to carry on with it? What's your lifestyle going to be like? And actually, we just need a bit of timetabling, structure, things in the diary that, you know, we know we're going to do.
You sound as that sort of, like we can't change what's happening at the moment, so make the best of a bad situation and just, you know, create your own sort of world through it sort of thing. And
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I listened when I had a chat to you a couple of weeks ago. I did listen to that, and I put myself in routine, and it definitely helps, you know, because the day you sort of know where you are at the day, and you know, the day's starting to go a bit faster now as well. Doing my little walk in the morning, my little jog in the afternoon, and that. But it definitely helps. But what's your advice to anyone mentally at the moment? Like if they were suffering like with anxiety or a little bit fearful, where would you say they should place their mindset? Or would it be take up activity, join in with you in the mornings to do a bit of exercise, or?
Oh well, of course. Well, that's a no-brainer. You know,
yeah.
8:30 in the morning, the PTI's voice comes back out, and core it is. Oh look, somebody said Pat helped me today. I've been doing this thing called Pat.
Oh, yeah.
People wake up in the morning with Pats. Doesn't matter man or woman. Partner shouldn't get jealous. It's a very fictitious name, and it's positive attitude today or positive attitude time. So everybody needs throughout their day a bit of Pat, whether it's, you know, you switch into having that positive attitude time, or you're going to choose to wake up in the morning with Pat and go for it the day. And I think that's really important that we have that. But one of the things I was going to say is, you know, stress and anxiety. So stress at the moment, things that are causing us stress, our environment, our situation, you know, we're finding ourselves at home 24/7. Like I have never been in my house as much as I have during this time, and it's all so very new. If people are in relationships or got family members, you know, how do you start navigating your own space? How do you actually say, do you know what, this is my area? And because you actually need to feel you're going to work or doing something just for you. And then like with anxiety, like it's the unknown, you know, what's your health going to be like? Are you going to be one of the unfortunate people that get the coronavirus or be affected through family member? Or are you, you know, are you actually thinking, oh, I've got no energy for this because you're putting a negative switch on it? Or are you actually using it as a positive and going, I've got more time to exercise than I've ever exercised before?
Yeah.
You know,
I've definitely, I've seen this out there on the internet and on the lives and stuff. That some people, you can reframe it one way. You can look at what you don't want, or you can look at what you're doing. Like so many other people, instead of worrying, they're getting healthy. They're starting to eat their veg and put the, you know, starting to do their shakes all of a sudden, and you know, trying to put themselves in a healthier state just in case they do, you know, health prevention. You know, so some people are getting fit, and then some people are worrying. But it is that choice, isn't it? It's like, think about what you want or what you don't want. It's either that towards to attitude, going towards your goal, or you start looking back and trying to come away from the problem. And I think that gives just a different emotional experience on both angles there.
Well, we can't control anything that's out of our control at all. We can only go by step. So if you can look after what you know you can control as a priority, and make those kind of the things that actually are stuck and secure for you, then actually all the other bits that we're worried about, you can start working on, but working on them in a way that actually is about breathing, accepting,
Accepting, yeah.
Doing things for yourself. I call it like me time. You know, I kind of always say there's an area in my time that's not is unnegotiable, as in I am going to have that time just for myself. Mine's going in a bath, hot bubble bath, music and candles, you know, that is my time. But, you know, some people now are finding new hobbies, doing puzzles, learning to sing, to write, to, you know, do music, to cook, do things that actually at home that you didn't get to do, decorating, clearing, you know, having a clear out is kind of therapeutic.
Oh, yeah, isn't it? She's driving me mental doing it. It's done my head in. I painted the kitchen, I've bloody done the front room. It ain't therapeutic to me. I'd rather be out running. I can't wait to get out there.
Well,
no,
you know, I mean, some people are so confined. You know, I feel very lucky at this period of time to have a house where I've got a nice garden and I can get out. And one of the things I've been sharing in the mornings at 8 o'clock is some live feed of my alpacas. Now I have 6 alpacas. And the reason why I decided I was going to share that is almost for that, how do I bring a smile to people's face and also that sense of calm? Because right at the moment, if people take time to listen outside, those birds are singing like they are the only thing in the world.
Someone said this to me the other day, and it's so true. I went for a run this morning, and all I could hear was birds, and it's just not normal, is it? They're just so loud at the moment.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's kind of like, you know, and we've got fresh air. So get out for that time that you're allowed to get out within the government guidelines. Breathe, get out, do it for you, and then you can come back to whatever else is left, because that's probably not going to go away.
Because I've heard people say before about do fitness for yourself, not to feel happy, not to lose weight, it's not necessarily for that. It's like if you put your focus on to feel good, you're more likely to be able to stick to it, you know, to sustain that sort of mindset. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. You know, fitness is there for everybody for all different reasons. We all like the reason why we do exercise is for a gain in a way, you know, it's to either feel good about ourselves, whether that is weight management or just your body, or actually just the brain, you know, or actually you want to progress and achieve. Actually, what fitness is good at is it covers all of those angles. Actually, it's for anybody.
It was like Tiger Woods put it into golf, didn't he? It was the first one really to put fitness into golf, to go, you know, start hitting the gym up, and not all golfers really like a beer and a beer belly. And he come out and he said it weren't because he needed it, it's because of his mindset. He said fatigue, it helped him concentrate for a longer period of time. And next thing you know, everyone in the game went into fitness. So.
Yeah, and you know what? These days, there's one thing that a lot of my followers have been saying they're really missing is park run, because park run is a great. For those that don't know, Saturday mornings, 9 o'clock, all around the country, all around the world at the moment. And what they're really good at is they bring people together from a social point of view, connecting, having fun, doing exercise, maybe achieving something, and people are missing that. And I've been starting on my feed. Last week I started to run, but what I did is I started it off on Zoom, so everyone's warming up on Zoom together. We went out for a run for 30 minutes. People stayed on their phones, whether they were walking, jogging, kept coming back on their phones, and it felt like you were actually running with people. And then we all had to be back within 30 minutes to do the cool down. And you just see everybody doing it, and it was brilliant. And so I'm doing it again on Thursday at 7 o'clock.
That's fantastic. And what's it called? Park Run?
No, so Park Run's a Saturday thing that a lot of people are missing, but I'm doing this virtual run on Thursday. I'll put it out again in the morning.
Oh, I'll have a look for that. Sounds good, that does. So that's a bit about yourself, because, you know, you're a British record holder for 800 metres and 1,000 metres, I believe.
I might still hold those. Who knows? Well, 600.
I've done a little bit of research. It looks like you've still got them at the moment. It's still up there on Wikipedia. And was it 7 gold medals? Is that same? Am I reading? 7 golds all in all. You had two Olympics, didn't you?
Yeah, I've got about 13 international medals from Commonwealth, European, World, Olympic Games. So. That was a 12-year career.
12-year career, and you started off
with dreaming.
So how did it all start? 20 years of dreaming. I love it. How did it all start then? From when you mentioned before when we had a little chat about it, was when you was young, you had this sort of vision, and you read that about being an Olympian or a runner. Was that correct?
Yeah.
I love that
So
story, yeah.
I started at school. I was not academic. My PE teacher kind of encouraged me to get into running.
I'm sorry to be a string and interrupt.
Yeah.
Every single successful person I've had on here, I say most of them, like Wayne Lineker, all these people that have been really successful, they go, I left school at 14. I wasn't really academic. It's really weird. All these people, the high achievers, all going, no, they've done good at school.
I know, right?
I think it's because you're more creative.
Although there are some
visionary.
points of life where I think, God, if only I listened to school, I'd be much better at it now.
But sorry, carry on. Sorry, I do apologise there.
No, it's great.
So then
I started running, and then I was winning at school, and you know, races were happening. And then I was inspired by the Olympic Games when I was 14, and Sebastian Coe won the gold medal.
Brilliant.
And I just remember it, and I had it like this goosebumps, you know, kind of almost like, wow. And I knew from that day that I wanted to be Olympic champion. I think, you know, when you're inspired by people or inspired by something when you're young, it can have a big impact, especially if other things in your life aren't so great. Sometimes it's one positive thing.
I know you probably don't think about it in this much depth. When you think back to being that little girl watching that, and you said you felt those goosebumps, what was it you felt? Was it like you felt that you was there, sort of thing? Was it like you sort of got into his eyes and sort of see it behind his eyes, what it must be like? What was the sort of what you can remember of that sort of vision and the feeling? Said it was goosebumps, but was it the sound of the crowd? Was everything exciting? Was it the?
I think it was. So, you know, I literally had like hairs coming the back of my neck, and almost felt like, you know, kind of this inner spirit taking over, like, you know, that's me, that's what I want to be. And I remember going back into school after the summer holidays and telling my best friends, I'm going to be an Olympic champion.
Brilliant. I love
They actually turned around and said, yeah, you probably are, because it's the only bloody thing you're good at. However, did they know? Yeah. And I think so sometimes you just need to be inspired by people. You don't have to want to be them. You know, it's important not to want to be them.
You don't want to be them, no. You just sort of...
I'm inspired by achievement. And when you see somebody achieve, you know it's possible. Or actually, you know that there's an avenue to go to something that's good.
This is what I like about that Roger Bannister story. I don't know if anyone's heard it. And it was about, I think it was something like mental, I might have been exaggerating, but like 200 years or something, people were trying to beat the 4-minute mile, and they said it can't be done, it's impossible. And old Roger Bannister was visualising it in his head, and he created the vision in his head of it being done first, and then he created it. And I heard a story, I think it was, I might be wrong, the figures might be a little bit out, but it was something crazy like this. Within the first 2 months of him beating it, there was 20 other runners beat it, you know, beat the 4-minute mile, 20 of them. Because once the human mind could see it possible, the belief in others, well, I've beat him in a race 6 years ago, I've done it, and their beliefs, well, if he can do it, I can do it, and it's mad, isn't it? It took all them years, but once one person broke it, you know, the rest can see, you know, it is. Well,
that's the same in sort of any industry, isn't it? Once somebody breaks the mold, then everything else seems possible to somebody else, you know.
So tell us about you with your records. Did you visualise that? Was you like thinking, I'm going to do this? The only
time So when I broke the British record that stood for 15 years by a South African girl called Zola Budd. I don't know if you ever remember, back in the day, there was a girl called Zola Budd. She was a barefoot runner, and she'd come to Great Britain in the mid-90s.
Zola Budd, yeah, I do remember. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Because of our apartheid. And she basically had a granddad, I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, but who had the British connection or was British, and she got to run for Great Britain. And she ended up holding all our records. She was only 16 when she came over, and she was amazing. Wow. And that record stood, as I said, for 12 years, and I wanted it.
Brilliant. There's your name on it.
Yeah, but the only reason why that record really was in my mind was because I'd gone to the Olympic Games when I was 26, and I ended up getting a stress fracture, still running. I came fourth, got picked on the line by 10th of a second with a stress fracture, I am.
Wow.
And I was so sort of almost downhearted about that, but almost it elevated me to think if I can come fourth at an Olympic Games with a stress fracture, and this is where mindset really plays a part, that I can come. I flipped it from a negative of thinking, oh no, I didn't get it, to God, if I can come fourth at Olympic Games, I can do this. So I came out firing on all cylinders in the following year. And this is where, I have to say, where there's almost like, and I only ever had it, I'd say 3, maximum 4 times in my career, like an out-of-body experience, where I just absolutely believed I was going to break this record. And during warm-up, I was with all these other world-class athletes who were amazing. Everyone knew I was trying to go for this record, so of course I was, you know, easy game to mess it up. And I literally felt like I was floating. It was just the weirdest thing. And that's because I absolutely believed it was possible to achieve, because other people had, you know, and that's why.
That's amazing, Kelly. That is so amazing. I can listen. I love all these stuff. I love listening to this. But I mean, tell us about the early days, because you was brought up with your mum, correct? And you was brought up in a council estate. Is that right? Like me?
Yeah.
You brought up in a council estate with your mum, and you know.
Yeah. So
my
mum had me in the 70s. So I live in Kent, born and bred in Kent, white Kent, and at that time she was only 17. So she was told by my granddad that she couldn't look after me until she could look after herself. So I actually went into a children's home for the first part of my life, and then
you did?
And then then my stepdad, who's my dad to this day, Mick, got with my mum, and they ended up getting married when I was about 7 or something, 7 or 8, and he brought me up. But yeah, we lived in just working class family, council estate kids, you know, nothing wrong with that.
And, no, of course not. No, definitely. Look at you. And when you you know, once you come through, what was it, through school and stuff, and you wanted to go into the British Army, I believe. And what age was you when you went in there? That was a dream of yours as well, wasn't it, to get into the army?
Yeah, again, since 14. Don't know what happened when I was 14.
14, but you made some decisions and they switched on, that's for sure.
So I wanted to go in the army since I was 14. I think that was a sense of purpose, belonging, having a career, doing something for myself. And I joined just before I was 18, actually. Eventually I got in, joined a month before I was 18. And yeah, joined the Women's Royal Army Corps as it was then. And then it amalgamated into the British Army 5 years later in 1992. But yeah, do you know what? It was a massive part of growing up. You know, it really taught me about myself, structure, discipline, respect for myself and others.
Do you think that has a big part in the way you attack the mindset of when you went into your professional running once you left them in the Olympics? Did that have a good part, a good sort of a basis to your mindset, do you think?
Yeah, I think because you know, in the army, of course, there is discipline. And I was a very strong young girl, because when I first joined as a heavy goods vehicle driver, then I became a physical training instructor. And when I became a physical training instructor, it was all about leading by example and gaining respect rather than just thinking that I should have it. So I used to always push myself to that next limit. So whatever I could take the guys. Whatever I told the guys to do, I could do too. So that gave me a strong mindset to deal with things and situations myself. So when I came back into athletics 5 years into my army career, I didn't really come in to go and achieve anything. I just came in because I was encouraged to by the army, because I was winning everything in the army, and ended up beating the British runners, the civvy runners. Wow. So catapulted me literally 2 years after starting, a year after starting back, training a bit more in athletics, but I was still doing all my combat work and, you know, still carrying the gun and weapons and that. I basically become #1 in Great Britain and got to compete in the Commonwealth Games, won the Commonwealth Games, European silver medalist 2 weeks later.
How did that feel, like when you first done the Commonwealth before you got to Olympics? How did that feel when you won that? It must have been
amazing.
And
you know, the Commonwealth Games is a mini Olympic Games. You know, it's full of people, different nationalities from all over the Commonwealth, of course, and it feels like a massive event. It's only ever once every 4 years. It's very special for those sports that have it.
And then, how about when you went into the Olympics? What was it like when you found out you was in? Do you remember that day? What happened now?
Yeah, so I've been to 3 Olympic Games. First one, as I said, I came 4th. Ran with a stress fracture.
When you got in that one, how did that feel? Like thinking you had a, was that? How did you find that?
I was still serving in the army, and I was using my leave to go away and compete. So it was really great to go in because I was almost representing myself and the military at the time.
That's unreal.
So I really, it wasn't the best. I wouldn't say it was the best games because it was in Atlanta and it was very commercialized.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, it wasn't a great one, and that's where they had one of the bombs and things. But still, it was Olympic vest, and you know, it was a driver to do more because having come 4th with stress fracture, I knew I could do it one day. Sydney was amazing. I have to say, Sydney.
Brilliant.
Sydney Games was awesome. Really was good. The people, the environment, what they did for the athletes, and you know, all of the volunteers was just so special. And then obviously Athens, another 4 years on. I mean, what can I say?
That was amazing. Athens, wow.
Yeah,
I mean, do you still get to train? Like, do you ever help any Olympians now? Do they ever call you in to do anything? The British team anytime? Do you get anything like that or not?
Well, I was an ambassador for the 2012 games, so there were some old hats that were there who handed over the torch for the younger ones to go and light the big Olympic flame. That was a brilliant moment, lovely. Yeah, you know, I still do a bit. I actually used to run a mentoring education program for 10 years for middle distance runners, and that was a great experience to help them, you know, achieve their full potential. But now actually, you know, I'm more into just the fitness world. I'm into motivational speaking on big stages, and actually I'm still attached to the army. I was made an honorary colonel with the Royal Armoured Corps. And
that's amazing. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. And that post was actually signed off by the Queen, a change in army policy, because I was the first person to be attached to a regular unit instead of a reservist. So I go and I wear all my colonel kit. I love it.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And what's your plans for the future with it all? You got any plans to, you know, what's your fitness plan? Are you doing your own thing? Is there anything else coming up, or have you got any business things? Or I know you got your charity.
Yes, so I've got the Kelly Holmes Trust, which is now 13 years old. We work with disadvantaged young people from areas of deprivation, and we utilise the skills of retired sporting heroes to teach them what it takes to be a good person in society. It's not sport, the outcome. The outcome is using sport as a hook to engage with young people who are from really bad backgrounds, actually, who need to find some purpose in life. So I'm really proud of that.
That is a beautiful thing to do.
Yeah,
so you're finding it now, it seems to me, watching you, it's like you love giving, you like giving back now, helping others, and
yeah, I just like to try and help people get the best out of themselves. You know, I will always remember my PE teacher believing in me, and I believe it takes one person to make a difference in somebody's life, and so I want to kind of almost continue with that vein. And the other thing on the fitness world, I started a concept called Military in Motion. That's on Instagram. And
that's a good name. Yeah.
Think like a soldier, perform like a champion. And,
I love it.
My 2 worlds. And I hope that I'm only generating that sort of now, just during this time. But the aim is to have outside big events, daytime and nighttime events that people can get involved in. So look out for that. I'm doing some sort of online pieces at the moment, which have been quite fun.
Oh, that is brilliant. I want to build over that. I want to definitely get involved in this run as well. That looks good. A couple of people in here said, get involved, Rob. But you're getting so much big love on it. I mean, it's just amazing to hear your achievements and your mindset, and sitting there smiling and always happy. And every time I look on you, you're helping someone or doing something. It's
well, you know, I try. You know, you say you're always happy. You know, I mean, be really clear with the people following you that, you know, I've struggled myself. You know, I've had a breakdown, self-harm, depression, anxiety. You know, I had my breakdown the year before Olympic Games, for those that don't know. So I became self-help in the den.
How did that come about then, Kelly?
Stress, anxiety, wanting to achieve, pushing myself to the extreme, not wanting to give up, you know, sometimes.
And what was the anxiety from? What was the anxiety from? Just, you think, just from the wonder what the outcome would be, or?
Probably lots of things. Probably growing up, background, wanting to achieve, knowing that athletics was the only thing that I was good at, and wanting that, then set in my mind that the Olympic Games was what I wanted to do because I could prove to myself. And then you put that, you know, the anxiety around that. And the injuries, I had so many injuries, you know, setbacks, knockbacks, could have given up so many times, but didn't, you know.
It's amazing.
And then, so I think it's to be clear to people that the reason why I come with like Pat and have the positive attitude is it's very easy, and especially at the moment, for us to switch to the negative side of what's going on. And I think that that's only spiraling down to disaster to everybody. You know, so you have to, at some stage throughout your day, find an area of time that's one, just for you, and two, that you can put that positive spin onto something. Because we all can have a happiness somewhere. We can all find something that makes us tick, makes us smile. And you just need to grab onto those things.
I like what you said, a positive spin, because I like to call that pivoting, because, you know, it's a spin. It's just different words for it. It's just, but it is just like you can focus on what you don't want and the anxiety of what could go wrong, or you can pivot it and take that the opposite direction to what's going right. And I think that is the key for the moment, to try to keep focusing towards the goodness. And you know, it's be over soon. It won't be. It ain't the end of the world. It's all gonna. It's gonna. We're gonna get through it. You know, and you know, it's good to see. You know, you know, the population. You know, worldwide. It don't matter where you come from. We're all in the same boat now, and it's brought humanity closer, I think. And you know, this thing can get you off a bottle top, can't it? You know what I mean? It's not. It don't care for who you are. So it's good to see, like, you know, people are taking, good to see people in the UK taking, you know, using their noddle and staying away and keeping their distance. You know, it's quite funny at times though. You walk down the street and people see you, they're like, it's a human. Right in the middle of the road. Don't even cross over. They want in the middle of the road. Get around you, and I'll do it.
It's so strange, isn't it?
It is.
If you just go do one thing, it's different. I went out the other day. I was like, literally, I went down on Sunday. It was my birthday on Sunday, so I decided I went down to the lake where my mum, we put a bench. When my mum passed away a couple of years ago, I put a bench. So I thought, I'll go down there, just do one lap round and go back. And I drove down, and there was literally no one on this dual carriageway. And it's almost like this apocalypse, you know, it's kind of like, and as soon as I saw someone, I was like, alien! There's been alien, avoid them!
Don't come near me! Yeah, I haven't been up London at all, but someone I know that goes to the hospital up there, and they said it was the weirdest feeling going through London Bridge Station. He said, I think I see 5 people all the way through. He said it's just really, really strange, but it's good at the same time. People are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and you know,
in the main, yes, there's some silly things happening in some places, like on Westminster Bridge last Thursday.
I didn't see that. What happened? I don't really try to watch the news because it.
No, I just saw it because everyone was commenting that everyone was doing the clapping, but they're all on Westminster Bridge, and there was loads of them, and it's like that was not the idea. And clap from your window. But I think in the main, most of us are doing what we should do when we have to, because, you know, you see there's another 800 plus people that have passed away, and it's frightening.
I'm really inspired through your stories and your honesty, and you know what you've been through as well. I never knew that you were self-harmed and went through that sort of a dip, Kelly. It's, I suppose a lot of people don't, and it just shows you, doesn't it? It can happen to anyone. The strongest people in the world can just get boom. Yeah. I do think we all go. I think it's probably 80% of us must go for a part of our life where it rips us down. So I think it is good. You know, the education's out there. People are trying to help, you know, focus the right direction. Because I see anxiety is if you take a bad past experience. People sometimes say it's the future, but it ain't actually coming from the future. It's coming from a creation of a thought that you had, that you imagined yourself having something bad happen to you, and then you create it in the future. Or it comes from something bad actually happening to you, like, I don't know, you got mugged on a bus, and every time you see a bus, you get that, and it can come with illness. So it's really coming from a past thought or a past event. It ain't really coming from the future. It's you're taking a past thought or an experience into the future. But if people actually just sit and just forget the past, but like wipe the here and now and start to create a vision of what they want, which is not normal for the way we've been taught through school. And this is why I truly believe, again and again, I listen to people get on here, or just like people like yourself, like the elite, we're not talking about the people that are good at saying, you know, like, we're like world champions here and, you know, millionaires and stuff, you know. It's, they've always, they don't think they're going to form to school, and in some ways that could be a part of. Now we always want to be more academic, and academic intelligence is a must. Yeah, I wish I could be more academic, but I don't think people realise that the schooling system can take out the vision. And what by what I mean by this, if you've got a 6-year-old kid, right, and they can look to you in the Olympics, go, I want to be an Olympian, right? And they get to school, and they go into school, they get to 7 years old, all of a sudden they let them daydream, they let them go running and do their stuff, and all of a sudden they get to school and they go, all right, don't about your running, stop drawing on your book. This is how you spell, this is how you write, this is how you colour in, this is how you shade, and you do it how I'll tell you, otherwise I'm going to mark you as an F. And the little girl goes, what's an F, miss? And you go, it's a failure. I don't want to be a failure. I will do exactly everything the way I'll tell you to do it. You're going to be okay. So there's 1,000 kids in the school, and they've all got to do it the same bloody way. There's nothing creative about that. And then we go through the whole schooling system looking how not to make mistakes. Because I understand it in the academic world, working for someone, getting a career, we have to have that. But they forget to mention that we need to be a visionary as well. We need to have visions of where we're going. And I think time kids leave school, that little girl when she's 6 goes, I want to be like Kelly Holmes. She leaves school at 18 and goes, what do you want to be? She goes, I don't know. I don't know yet. I might go back to college. Like, they're in fear. They're like, they're proper panicking. We don't know what, because they're scared of making the wrong decision. So they're always thinking of how not to make mistakes, how not to muck up their life, how not to fail being in the Olympics. And it sounds like you went for a little bit of that on your in that bit there when you were saying. But you always see that sort of, but lucky enough, where you weren't academic, well, I'm not saying you ain't academic, but where you said you never, it weren't your forte.
No, I was not academic.
So your vision, you know, I think the last few in a row, I think Jimmy Bullard, fantastic footballer, right? Tamar, who else did I have? Wayne Lineker, right? Great businessman. Last night, Dapper. Most of them left school at 40. And all mirroring is this, and these are the successful ones. And I say to people, if you look at studies, 87% of self-made millionaires are dyslexic with ADHD, which is quite worrying when we're made to feel we're thick at school. And we're made to feel stupid, and it's not on. Right. And we can go, well, hang on a minute, we're actually the ones that are coming from, if you're going from working class like us, we're the ones that are higher achievers. So what are you talking on about? Do you know what I mean? So I think we've got to put the vision back in kids, and that's like one of my big goals is, I love what you're doing, going around and helping kids that, you know, from working class areas or really bad upbringings and bad things, because I come off a council estate in South London, and there weren't no swings in my parks. There was like oil and all graffiti on the slides. You couldn't have to play on. You had I remember Mum taking me a kid in the 80s, holding around, walking down the stairs. There'd be like heroin needles, sick on the staircase, and people won't believe it now. You know what I mean? And it was like that in the 80s. Everyone was everywhere, and it was horrible. And I think the only thing, this is the truth, yeah? The only thing I see in working class hours in areas, the belief system's so nuts because their parents and their mates' parents ain't doing what, you know, successful people doing, because they won't be there, yeah? So what happens is we start seeing either drug dealers or armed robbers, because they're the only ones on the estate with money. Yeah. Like with real money, do you know what I mean? Like driving the BMWs and getting all the birds, and, you know, they're the ones with the ready. So they think, well, I can be like my mum and dad or my mate's mum and dad and window clean and or do a builder like my dad was. And nothing wrong with that. You know, everyone, not that ain't what I'm trying to get. What I'm trying to say is you can see why the mindset gets put onto, that they look at this and they want more. And then they think it's about taking what they can just take and do it that way. And I think if you can get into these kids young enough, or not, it ain't got to be young enough, but you can get into these kids and you can teach them the mindset of some vision, that they can be something, that they can achieve, like what you're doing. I mean, that just opens up another world of thought to me, and that really touches my heart, and that's a big passion of mine, because I think if you can help these working class kids, these kids could end up stabbing you for £20, yeah? Or, so they're hungry. Do you know what I mean? That mindset, that hunger they got to get, you know, is there, but it's just their mindset's just been programmed on. If you can teach them something that they can be, that they can be successful, or, you know, give them a goal, and if they can see that and they can switch that hunger on, they're going to be unstoppable. And I really believe that. I really believe that.
I was just noticing that there's a Sarah there that said our school teach growth and mindset. I think there are some schools now that realise, you know, what I realised when I was younger was that it was one way of learning. You know, I never stayed in a French class, for example, right? Because the French teacher's trying to speak French with me, trying to get me to answer her in French, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. No idea what you're freaking talking about. So you're still trying to talk to me in French and still want me to answer you in French. because I could not compute it. But if you draw me a picture and you kind of then did it in a phonetic understanding, I probably would have got it and enjoyed it. So it's
you need that visual. I'm like
we're all so different, and our learning's just different. But it doesn't mean
this is
fail.
exactly it. And I'm not anyone out there. I'm not running down teachers, or I'm just saying the schooling system overall does need to open its mind up. And I'm saying that because the creativity is taken out. And I have seen some changes. And there's a school in just over near Dartford. I can't remember what the school's called, in primary school. And what they've started to do is they've got an award for mental health and everything with the children, because the kids are their work rate's gone up. It's a really underprivileged area, and what they've done is every time a kid mucks up, that does something wrong, they start clapping. They go, "Well done, you've done really good." Then they go, "But I've got it wrong, miss." And they go, "Yeah, but you're learning. You get it wrong. You're about to learn." Do you know how magical that is? And they keep doing it all the time. So they fail, instead of getting told off, they go, "That's it. You're about to learn. You're about to learn. It's just about to come to you." And honestly, the difference in level of learning's gone really up. So it is that mindset, you know. And I think, as you said, like you had a teacher when you was doing your PT teacher, and they made you feel inspired. And you get them teachers, they change your life. Do you know what I mean? Them teachers have got that little bit of vision, a little bit of, they can see it, and they can say them words to you, and that's, you know, they believe in you more than what, well, at least it comes across, they believe in you more than you can believe in yourself, and that's all we need. That's what kids need.
Well, we all have a talent. We all have a talent. Kids will all have their own talent, and it will just change as they go along, and growth will be different. But I think when it comes to learning, you can't teach them in one way. Everyone's going to have to be taught in a different way, just because that's
they've proved there's nine types of intelligence. There are some people can just understand plants. They ain't been taught. They can just make plants grow. Other people are good with animals. They just know how to do it. And they reckon there's like spiritual. There's 9 types of different types of intelligence. Yet they're teaching us just the one way, academic. And if if you can't conform to that, you're thick.
Me trying to get me to answer her in French, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. No idea what you're freaking talking about. So you're still trying to talk to me in French, and still want me to answer you in French, because I could not compute it. But if you draw me a picture and you kind of then did it in a phonetic understanding, I probably would have got it and enjoyed it. So it's
you need that visual. I'm like,
we're all so different, and our learning's different. But it doesn't mean
this is exactly it. And I'm not anyone out there. I'm not running down teachers, or I'm just saying the schooling system overall does need to open its mind up. And I'm saying that because the creativity is taken out. And I have seen some changes. And there's a school in just over near Dartford. I can't remember what the school's called, in primary school. And what they've started to do is they've got an award for mental health and everything with the children, because the kids are their work rate's gone up. It's a really underprivileged area, and what they've done is every time a kid mucks up, that does something wrong, they start clapping. They go, "Well done, you've done really good." Then they go, "But I've got it wrong, miss." And they go, "Yeah, but you're learning. You get it wrong. You're about to learn." Do you know how magical that is? And they keep doing it all the time. So they fail, instead of getting told off, they go, "That's it. You're about to learn. You're about to learn. It's just about to come to you." And honestly, the difference in level of learning's gone really up. So it is that mindset, you know. And I think, as you said, like you had a teacher when you was doing your PT teacher, and they made you feel inspired. And you get them teachers, they change your life. Do you know what I mean? Them teachers have got that little bit of vision, a little bit of, they can see it, and they can say them words to you, and that's, you know, they believe in you more than what, well, at least it comes across, they believe in you more than you can believe in yourself, and that's all we need. That's what kids need.
Well, we all have a talent. We all have a talent. Kids will all have their own talent, and it will just change as they go along, and growth will be different. But I think when it comes to learning, you can't teach them in one way. Everyone's going to have to be taught in a different way, just because that's
they've proved there's 9 types of intelligence. There are some people can just understand plants. They ain't been taught. They can just make plants grow. Other people are good with animals. They just know how to do it. And they reckon there's like spiritual. There's 9 types of different types of intelligence. Yet they're teaching us just the one way, academic. And if you can't conform to that, you're thick. You're a failure. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's right. And you know, no one's a failure. It's just the way they're taught, whether they get it or they don't. But I believe everyone can be a winner if they believe in themselves and they find something that their heart says they want to follow. And then just, you know, you have to just accept who you are and don't be afraid to learn. And
one thing
I say, if only is too late. If you don't give something, if only is too late.
Too late, yeah.
Right? It's too late. So try something. Don't think about whether you can't, you're going to fail at it, not good at it. Give it a go, and then give your answer.
Yeah. and you can retry again. I say failure is information, you know. It's only a failure if you walk away and go, I can't do that. But if you sit back and go, what did I do wrong? How could I improve? And then that's information. And I think that's the way we can look at it. But so tell us one of your, before we go here, tell us one of your magic moments. What's one of your like biggest moments? So obviously it's the Olympics, but I mean, is there like anyone you've met? You've met someone or something?
Oh no, I'll just tell you really quickly a story, only because it's my sister's birthday, so it's another Zoom party. We've had all of these blooming Zoom parties for my family. Everyone's birthday's in bloody April. So I've got cake waiting for me. But
happy birthday, cake.
Cake.
Oh, cake.
And Penny is my sister waiting for me.
Oh, sorry. Happy birthday, Penny.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things that happened to me is I come back obviously from the Olympics, and I was asked to present All Saints at the Royal Variety Show. And so I went on the stage, did my bit, went back, curtains went, and Elton John comes in, and he ran up to me, got hold of me and swung me round.
Wow. No way.
There's kind of this whole, and I was like in shell shock, you know, because Elton John knew who I was. Crazy. It was just like amazing. So that's probably the best time I've had.
That is absolutely amazing. I mean, I don't believe, people say starstruck, and I remember, I've always seen, you know, you like people and everything, but when I see Mick Jagger, because I've been to music, I see him once. I was at the, I can't think of it, somewhere in London, there was a gig on the, and I met Mick Jagger, I see him, and I couldn't get a word out of my mouth. I stood there staring at him like that. I don't know what happened to me. And at the time I got composed myself, I walked away because I thought he was looking at me as if I was some like lunatic. That's the only time I've ever been like proper starstruck where it proper ripped me, you know. But
I know. I mean, I just appreciate people. I'm never really kind of blown away like necessarily. I really think of people and think, oh my God, look at you. And it can be at any level, to be honest with you. It's not all just people that are in the public eye and famous.
Oh, you're amazing. I mean, when I got to speak to you the other day, I was like, wow.
Incredible.
You know, you're
going to. We're going to do this thing. We're going to do this men's mental health talk. I am so up for this because, you know, I believe that women are better at talking in terms of asking for help and talk with their mates. And just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I shouldn't push the need to get men to talk to each other, because the high suicide rates of men is just unbelievable. And I just feel like I want to get everyone together and speaking on the same page and have this sort of like all these inspirational like yourself and people coming in hosting this whole session and get hundreds of people.
I think that is amazing because it's true. Men don't speak, and most of my clients, 98% of them will be women without fail, you know. Without fail, it'd be women. And I think men do need to open up. And saying that, I've got a few friends, and you know, they've been saying the same thing. But guess what? They have a bad day, you don't hear from them. They do exactly the same thing. We just want to close up, and like, cause we don't want to mug ourselves off because it's that macho thing, isn't it? You know, and
I know it really is. And
we don't want to mug ourselves off. It makes us feel weak. We don't want to feel shamed, and because it's different. Because men do take the mick out of each other. Do you know what I mean? Like, it don't matter what it is. It could be like your mum. They'll take the mick out you, like anything. But we do it in a joking way. Where it ain't, you know, when the boys were the boys. But it ain't like, you know, it's not done vindictively. That sounds weird, but you know. So I suppose I can see how this problem can lie. But I think when it comes down to really being down, your friends know when there's that draw that line. They know when, like, if you're asking for it. And I think men should check on their pals, because I found my mate who hung himself, and I was out with him the night before, and we had a good night, got drunk, had a good time. And when he went, he was happy. I mean, he was so happy all night long. And when he went to give me this cuddle, and I remember thinking that was just a bit weird. It wasn't like.
That's what people say. People say that.
And I didn't know he had a £2,000 loan that day, and he went out and blew the lot. Went on the booze all day and give money to people and monkey in the fruit machine. And he had it all done, and he went home. And I got a dodgy phone call in the morning anyway. I went round there. They asked me to get in through the back window, and there he was in the same clothes, and it was shocking. But he didn't see it coming. He just didn't see it coming. So I think. I think what your idea is absolutely amazing, Kelly, and I'm all over that, you know, get men to talk. But I know you're busy, and I've taken a lot of your time, so thank you very much. Honestly, I'm so
well, I'll keep in touch. Sorry about your friends, and I'll keep in touch with you, and let's chat soon.
Big love, Kelly. You're amazing.
You too.
Thank you so
you.
much.
Bye.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye. Take care.